It started as one of the most shocking moments in recent political history. Cameras were rolling, tension thick as fog, and in that courtroom where silence usually reigned, the nation watched the impossible unfold. A sitting U.S. Senator, John Kennedy, stood accused of defying a powerful federal order. Judge Thomas, known for his strict rulings and zero tolerance for political theatrics, had just dropped a bombshell: a $500 million fine against the Louisiana senator. Gasps filled the courtroom. Reporters scrambled to tweet. But what happened next would flip the entire case and the court itself on its head. For a few long moments, Kennedy didn't move. He simply looked around the room, eyes calm yet piercing, the weight of a nation's gaze upon him. Most men would crumble under the humiliation, the pressure, and the political disaster looming overhead. But not Kennedy. As Judge Thomas adjusted his glasses and prepared to move on, Kennedy finally rose from his seat. What he said next didn't just silence the courtroom, it changed its temperature. "Your Honor," Kennedy began, his southern drawl steady but loaded with emotion, "you can fine me $500 million if you want. You can even take away my title, but you can't fine a man for standing by the truth, because truth, and no matter how inconvenient, doesn't pay attention to bank accounts or black robes." The crowd stirred. Even the court officers shifted uncomfortably. Judge Thomas, visibly irritated, tried to interrupt, but Kennedy didn't stop. He spoke of integrity, how he'd spent his career defending ordinary Americans who couldn't afford lawyers or lobbyists. He reminded the court that laws are not meant to crush the people who expose corruption, but to protect them. His words began to cut through the air like a sermon in a storm. Then came the turning point. Kennedy pulled out a single document, a stack of correspondence between major corporations and government officials. It showed how billions in taxpayer money had been misused while the very agencies meant to protect citizens looked away. Kennedy's fine, he explained, wasn't about justice, it was about revenge. The courtroom froze. Gasps turned into murmurs. Even Judge Thomas seemed momentarily caught off guard. For years, Kennedy had been a thorn in the side of those who profited from the shadows, and now, standing in the light, he was showing the world exactly why. The gallery erupted in whispers as Kennedy laid out evidence after evidence, painting a picture of greed, deceit, and betrayal of the public trust. Judge Thomas's face hardened. "That's enough, Senator," he ordered. But Kennedy's reply shook the entire hall. "With respect, Your Honor, the people deserve to know who's really on trial here. Because it's not me, it's the system that punishes honesty and rewards corruption." Reporters typed furiously, their phones lighting up. Within minutes, #Kennedy versus Thomas began trending nationwide. Outside the courthouse, hundreds gathered, not in protest, but in solidarity. Ordinary citizens, veterans, farmers, teachers, people who'd felt ignored and unseen for years, began chanting his name. "Kennedy, Kennedy, tell the truth." By the next morning, everything had changed. Legal analysts debated the validity of the fine. Constitutional experts questioned whether Judge Thomas had overstepped his authority. And when several court staff anonymously confirmed that certain documents in the case had been mysteriously sealed just days earlier, public outrage exploded. The Justice Department was forced to review the case. Under immense pressure and scrutiny, the $500 million fine was suspended pending investigation. Judge Thomas himself was called before a judicial ethics committee. And in an unprecedented twist, Kennedy, the man once accused, was invited to testify in front of Congress to expose the corruption he had revealed. In his testimony, Kennedy didn't gloat. He didn't seek revenge. He simply said, "Power means nothing if you use it to silence truth. Justice doesn't wear a robe. It wears a conscience." Those words echoed far beyond Washington. Across America, citizens felt the spark, a reminder that courage, when fueled by integrity, can turn even the harshest judgment into a victory for the people. In the end, Senator John Kennedy didn't just win a case, he won back something much more important: the faith of the ordinary American who still believes truth can triumph over power. And as the cameras faded and the courtroom emptied, one thing was clear: you can fine a man $500 million, but you can't bankrupt his soul.